Hello to the internet. I'm going to press record on this Christmas special in 3, 2, 1.
Leaders and healers, gamers and claimers, ladies and gentlemen from around the universe, from around the globe, from around the community, wherever you are in the world, listen to this actively or passively in your car, at home, at work, wherever you are, working out, or just chilling in your favorite spot in your home, or on the street, or at the mall, Christmas shopping, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us on the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. I am your host, Anthony Cheam, speaker, life coach, author, trainer, father, husband, son, friend, and community activist, just making the world better, making the world a better place. This is a show where we help you claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest, widest, and highest passions possible so you can ultimately show up as the best version of yourself and ultimately inspiring others to do the same, because that's what it's all about. And you know what? I am so stoked for this episode because, I'm stoked for every episode, of course, but we are officially, I'm not going to say officially, but almost a week away from Christmas. And tomorrow I am turning 40, and wow, 40 years on this planet. My best friend also turned 40 today. We were born in the same hospital in Burlington, Ontario. My dad worked with his dad at CCIW, the Canadian Center for Inland Waters, and we're still best friends to this day. So him and I are definitely kindred spirits, and he's down for a couple of weeks. I'm happy. I saw him yesterday. It was such a great and grand excursion to see him and his wife and his kid again. And so this week's pretty much going to be dedicated to creating Christmas magic. And today's episode is, what will it take for you to make Christmas magical? And I'm going to introduce Cam from Chatham, who's making all this technological savviness work on the internet and podcasts and whatever he's doing. And he's my power partner in action on this Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. Say that 20 times in a row. And we are here to serve you and give you the best of what we got. What's up, Cam? How you doing, man? It is good to see you.
Thank you. It's great to see you as well. Say that 10 times fast. Power, Purpose, Passion. Power, Purpose, Passion. I'm doing really well. Today is actually a very special day for me because it is the day after I finished my very first journal. And I'm going to make a video about it on my channel eventually. But I started it August 19th. And I finished it yesterday. I've never finished an entire journal. You know, you start it and then you get caught up with life. But this thing, it excites me because I have a second one that's the exact same type. And I know that in about 100 days, this thing's going to be full of what I've learned, what I've experienced, how I grew. And it's crazy how much I've changed as a person from the beginning of this journal to the end. And I could just see what it's like already at the end of the tunnel. Like, once this thing is done, I'm going to be a completely different human being, completely evolved. Yeah. Very, very excited for that. Not to mention the last episode, for those of you who did not check it out, I forget what I called it. Something with the shadow self. We were talking about oneness in the mind, accepting the ego and stuff like that. And basically, it'll free you from the influence that your inner cynic has in your life. And that episode has completely transformed my life. Just because I had basically everything ready to go, and there was one piece missing. And that episode really, really was amazing. I loved it a lot. So, yeah, I'm honestly, congrats on turning 40. That's double my age at this point, literally. So,
thanks, man.
No problem. And I guess let's get right into this Christmas. What would make your Christmas magical this year?
Well, let me ask you that question there, Cam. Let's just throw you into this like podcast fully, man. What would make your Christmas so magical, man?
Well, first of all, I don't know, like, I'm not really a huge fan of like the whole gifts and Santa and blah, blah, blah. For me, it's just like, I honestly say to people, it's an excuse to be nice. Like, because people need an excuse. They need an excuse to be grateful and nice and happy and festive and celebrating. I remember I was writing just in the last few words of my journal, actually. It says, remember, anything and everything is a party, a time for celebration and fun and adventure and love and joy and peace. Be here now. That was the last words of my journal. And that's, a lot of people say, oh, it's Christmas time. Now it's time to relax and or let loose and tell people I love them and blah, 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 you know? Like, I wish there was a better word for have a nice day. Because when I go and buy something, I say Merry Christmas now. And it's like, that sound like, it's just like has a ring to it. Like, it's weird how we need that. But I'd say to make Christmas magical this year, just be radically aware of the way you're treating people and the way you're carrying yourself this time of year versus any other time. And notice the difference and realize that there really shouldn't be a difference. You should just be absolutely grateful, absolutely in total celebration all day long. Well, not all day long, but you know what I mean? As often as you can, and enjoy yourself and be excited. And because really people are just pumped for Christmas, then January comes along and seasonal depression kicks in. And all this stuff, right? And I would say also the expectations of the holidays really messes with people as well. Like when you have so many expectations on either what gifts you're going to get or the fact that you have this pressure on yourself that you need to go and get a bunch of people everything and treat everybody and make sure that, like, my parents, and I'm sure a lot of other parents as well, get caught in the trap of like stressing so much about taking care of everybody else, making sure this party works out, making sure everything's ready, all the food's ready, blah, 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 blah. And then you really never get a chance to chill. And it's like that Christmas is really about coming together and loving each other and celebrating and telling each other how we really feel and giving, you know, it's just a moment for that. So I would just say those two things for me anyways. The idea of realizing that you don't need Christmas as an excuse to be nice. You don't need Christmas as an excuse to be grateful and happy and in celebration, and to sort of notice your expectations and just realize that they're doing nothing but giving you unnecessary stress and pressure during these times that should be fun. Those like top of my head, those two things I would say for me.
You know what? But you point to some great ideas, and when it comes to Christmas itself, I'll take it from a different perspective. I know we on one of the podcasts last week we talked about the four-dimensional awareness, and if you look at Christmas as a whole, if we look at it from 4 different dimensions, from an interior of the individual, the external of the exterior of the individual, the interior of the cultural values, and the exterior of the culture, you can look at Christmas in many different ways. But if you look at around you right now, the people's lights, the songs that are playing in the stores, the level of sort of curiosity and kid-like curiosity that's going on around you, the culture, your interior perspective about what Christmas is all about, Santa Claus, the birth of Jesus Christ, which is the original, obviously, reason why Christmas is around, of course. But for people, it's just a time of reflection. It's a time of giving, as you said. It's a time of taking your focus off yourself and onto other things and other people and giving of yourself. And I absolutely agree that we don't need an exterior thing called Christmas to be kind and generous and compassionate. But it certainly points to the fact that when our exterior environment is reinforcing this idea of what Christmas is, it certainly puts us in a certain emotional state, and we process it based on our identity, our values, all these things. So this is a perfect example of just going back to that podcast and listening to the podcast and taking every experience from a 4-dimensional perspective. And for me, Christmas, I just love the whole idea of thinking about others and using the time to think about others, to think about one individual at a time and go, what can I give to this person? What can I buy this person? What could I say to this person? What could I do for this person during Christmas to make them smile? And one of my favorite things as a metaphor is not really a metaphor, but when someone's opening up their present and I know it's something they wanted, or I know that's something that they're going to like, that is one of my favorite things in the world, just seeing them. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. And they got a big smile, man, Anthony, thank you so much. And it's just like this coalescing of gratitude, of compassion, of kindness, of generosity, and just together you make each other feel good. And you can do that with a text. You don't need Christmas to do that. I often say people, life is a gift that keeps on giving, that sometimes when the gift you open, it may not be something that you want, but it's certainly serving your evolution. But it's a gift that you unwrap every single day under a tree, under the bed, wherever you are in the world. It really doesn't matter. And there's many different religious or spiritual traditions that do this. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, there's Diwali, which is the Indian lights festival, I think it's called, and a number of other ones that we can celebrate too. So I'm always interested in what other people's view of what Christmas is all about, of what they celebrate based on their religion or spirituality. But it's a moment and time of togetherness. It's a moment of time of reflection. It's a moment of time of setting new standards, perhaps letting go of old habits, and then setting new standards. And we've talked about this with New Year's coming up. Setting the standard now, that you don't have to wait till New Year's. Now is here. Now here's resolution. Make that resolution today, and maybe talk to some friends and family about your resolutions, about some of the new things you want to accomplish, new behaviors and habits you want to inculcate and adopt and habituate into your life, so that you can empower yourself to new heights of happiness, fulfillment, success, whatever it might be, in whatever role you're playing, whatever area that you're talking about, and looking at your life, reflecting on your life, examining your life, and getting other people's opinion about where you want to go and what you need to work on. But again, I mean, that can be done now. But for me, in terms of Christmas being magical, I mean, I was telling someone the other day, I said, my daughter asked me this, and I hope she's not, I don't listen to the podcast with her anyway, this particular podcast, but she asked me, Daddy, do you believe in Santa Claus? I said, yeah, absolutely. I do, but not in the way she sees and believes in Santa Claus. We can all be Santa Clauses in our own way. It's a different metaphor for me. Santa Claus being the spirit of giving, the spirit of love, the spirit of joy, the spirit of birth, of Christ consciousness in all of us, and this birth of this baby boy being loved into this moment, into life that would eventually become, one of the greatest humans ever to live on this planet, that taught us about certain principles and how to be and how to respond and how to act, and certain laws of life, and about faith and work and parables. I loved all the stories. I mean, I continue to study Jesus Christ in such a profound way, and every time I learn something new, or I go deeper into my own spiritual journey, I learn something new, even deeper about it. So it's the birth of our own newer selves, or the heights of who we are, and a rebirth, a born again, if you want to call it. And I think honestly, the next week, maybe perhaps I challenge the listeners today, if for the next week, take the next 7 days and think of 3 people. That's 21 people in 7 days. For the next 7 days, think of 3 people, work, coworkers, family, friends, whoever, strangers on the street, and just make their day, make their Christmas magical, make their day. Say something kind, smile, give them something. It doesn't really matter. Buy someone coffee. Again, it doesn't matter. Random acts of kindness. And this is a perfect time to do it 1 week prior to Christmas. And maybe perhaps show yourself some kindness, because it is busy during this time of year with work and commitments and parties and food. So give yourself maybe a day where you just give yourself tons of love and tons of kindness, snuggling up to a fireplace and watching some movies, binging on some Netflix shows. We all have it. It's totally fine, just to kind of relax, let go, and give of ourselves the best of love as humanly possible. So what do you think there, Cam? You agree?
Absolutely, I agree. I think there's 2 things that resonated well with what you were saying. First of all, the idea that the culture around you, the environment around you, does affect you profoundly, and Christmas is an amazing example of that, because you look around, there's lights, there's music, there's people, whatever. It's not as pretty when you go to a shopping mall on a sale, because people are really like dog world, free for all, like give me that that last purse.
Yep.
But besides that, there's a lot of just like happiness and gratitude and all this stuff going around, and so it really does affect you, whether you like it or not, subconsciously or not. Even if you pick and choose who you want to be happy to, you just end up being happy and grateful for someone, and you express that to an extent. And I would say, like, another thing, I was having a conversation yesterday, and this is a little bit more esoteric, but I don't know why, but every Sunday, no matter what, like, even if I'm working or not working, or I don't even know what day of the week it is, I could just guess when it's a Sunday, because I could just feel this feeling of chill. Like, people have let go on Sunday. People are chilling on Sunday. And it just feels like the entire vibe of my city is relax because it's Sunday. And I always just feel that feeling no matter what. Even if I didn't know it was a Sunday, I'd be like, oh, of course it was a Sunday. Because I just couldn't like get out of the house. I was just lazy that day. It's interesting how, and maybe, that could easily be BS or whatever, but maybe there's more to all of this than we think. You know, when you walk into a room and there's a heavy vibration and you're like, whoa, what is going on here? And then you find out that there's some drama or something's happening or whatever.
For sure.
It's crazy.
It's the old 100th monkey, right? Experiment that they did, right? And if the culture around hits a tipping point, then it affects the whole entire consciousness, the collective consciousness. So there could be something to be said about what you feel on Sundays. I certainly work hard from Monday to Saturday, and by Saturday I'm like literally like so exhausted that I give myself that sort of permission to sleep in. Like this on Sunday morning I slept until 5:30, and 5:30 is like, it's late for me, of course. 5:30 in the morning, and I got up and I just like, wow, I slept in 2 hours after I usually get up and during the week time, but it was great. And I took my time. And Sunday mornings is my cleaning schedule. Like, clean the whole house, do the laundry. And but I do it with no agenda. Just like, I have to do it fast. I do it fast, but not with with a time schedule. And I just do it. Then my kids get up, I cook them breakfast. I have fun with them and I laugh and play. Yesterday, I had a great time with my children, just tickling them and having fun with them. And just, it's the most, I think Sunday is one of those days where you rest, reflection, fun, letting go, no agenda, chilling, as you just said. And I think Christmas, the whole idea of Christmas is very much the same as Sundays. It's just an extended Sunday, I guess, if you want to call it that.
It's the Sunday of the year,
It's the Sunday of the year. You got it. And the holidays and as crazy as it sounds, my wife loves to watch those cheesy Christmas films on TV, on the W Network, on Netflix. There's a lot. The great thing about some of these cheesy Christmas films that I love so much is one thing I can tell you. They always have a positive message in them. You ever notice that? There's always something positive with regards to some of these Christmas movies that are somewhat cheesy, but there's always and that's what I noticed about Christmas. If you look at all Christmas music, with the exception of that one song, It's Cold Outside, but even that, it's not meant to be taken so seriously. It's just, I don't know why people took it so seriously, but they wanted that song off the radio because it offended people. Whatever. But the point is, if you look, and you're a musician too as well, Cam, you'd appreciate this. The words of music, Christmas music, all of it, most of it, 99.99% of the Christmas is all something beautiful. It's not vulgar. It's not profanity. It is kind. It's generous. It's a time of singing and playing and in the snow and sleigh bells and reindeer and Frosty the Snowman and the birth of Jesus Christ, Silent Night. I mean, Silent Night being one of the most beautiful hymns of all time. Anyway, Christmas hymns anyway. But the point I'm saying is that all Christmas music is all beautiful and pure and bountiful and sharing and caring and the spreading of love and just reflecting. If you listen to some of the words in Christmas music, it's just so beautiful. Like, my gosh, the poetry, it's poetry coupled with music and melody. So anyway, the point is I think it is a time for you to reflect, for you to give of yourself and to rest, recuperate, and then maybe perhaps set new standards, new objectives for your life, of course. And even if you don't do that, that's okay too. But as we cap off this podcast, maybe perhaps take the next 7 days and pick 3 people that you could send three texts to random people that you haven't talked to, and just send a nice little note or smile or random act of kindness or whatever it might be, and make their Christmas magical. Because as you make other people's Christmas magical, you're going to make your own Christmas even doubly, triply, quadruply magical as well. And that's what life's all about, making other people feel good. You feel good as a result. So it's not just about giving and then receiving. As you give through your window of giving, your receiving window is the exact same. So as you give, you are going to receive as you're giving it. So ladies and gentlemen, leaders and healers from around the globe, around the community, thank you for joining us, tuning into this podcast. We enjoy you each and every single week, each and every day. And if you love this podcast, then by all means, comment, question, like, whatever it is, and share it to the people you care about. And hopefully it's making an impact on your life. So to your continued upgrade and evolution, live it up with power, purpose, and passion. Thank you guys. God bless.